Hey.
Hey, how you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm making it.
Awesome.
It's a little early. I'm making it.
Right? I know it.
Yep.
I know it. Okay, wait, can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, for sure.
All
Amazing.
right. All right, cool.
Great.
Well, look, thanks for coming on and doing the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I thank you for reaching out because I just get sometimes a lot of emails and stuff. They're like, "Hey, you should check this person out, check this person out, check this person, check this person out," and it's like, they're not really good. And I had this one guy. And you came to me and you were like, "Hey, I enjoy your show, yada yada." So I knew you had listened because you're like, "Hey, the movie reviews, etc."
Yeah.
I had this one guy come to me, Brooke, one time, and he goes, "I do a YouTube show." He said, "It's not big, but it's a starter." And I said, "Okay, cool." And he goes, "I hear you do a podcast." And I said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, do you want a spot? Do you want to become a sponsor on the show to get your show out there? You want to come on the show?" And he was like, "I want to come on the show and be a guest." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I'm booked up for the next 2 weeks, but if you want to come on and I enjoy your content, then I'll have you on next so weeks." And he goes, "Okay, that sounds good. By the way, what's the name of your show and what kind of show is it?"
Oh
Wait a second. Wait a
no.
second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, you can take it how you want to. I took that as a stab in a disrespect. I was like, hang on, dude. So one, you want to come on the show, and two, you don't know what it is, what's the name of it, what it's about. Okay, you're not coming on
Right.
the show anyways. It was just, what are you doing, man?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
sad. Because, like, why? How do you even know that you want to be? How do you even know that it would be appropriate for you to be on the podcast?
it could have been a podcast about internet porn, and he's just putting on his
Right.
YouTube show.
Like, no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I hate it for the dude
That,
because I was like, look, man, I take it as disrespect. And he was like, well, I wasn't being
yeah.
disrespectful because I was asking. I was like, well, if you wanted to be on the show, you should know at least what it's about. Like, you're not,
Right.
and then he came to me 3 days ago, I think, and was like, hey, I listened to your show. I liked it. And I was like, well, that's fine, but you're still not coming on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're still not
Oh.
coming on. So I'm just going to block you because I know you're just going to keep sending me these YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, he was sending you like all of his like content and
I
videos for
mean,
you to
it was
check out.
constant. It was like 2 or 3 a
Oh,
day, and I admire his bugging because I
yeah.
do it a lot. I do it a lot because it's just like the more you ask, the more they're gonna be like, well, let's just get this guy off my back and do it.
Sure.
But I was fine,
Yeah.
just like I because at least when I go to people, I'm not disrespectful. Like, hey, I hate your movies, but come on the show.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Just come on the show. It'll be great.
yeah. I
Right.
promise I'm not gonna make fun of you too much, just a little bit.
Too much. Maybe like poke fun a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to. That's funny. Well, I mean, all good things for that guy. Hopefully he does his
Yeah,
research next time.
I like to stay positive. So yeah, a lot of good things.
Yeah.
I could say I wish death, but who wants to wish death on somebody? I mean, it's just a
Right.
minor mishap. I've done that before. I've
Yeah.
done stupid stuff like that before, and I know you have.
Yeah. Oh, we all have. We
Yeah.
learn our
Uh
lessons
huh.
as we go. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Easy. I mean, it's easy. I love that you have your coffee. I've got my coffee too.
Well, look, I ran out of my organic sugar, so I'm having to drink it black.
Oh.
Oh man,
Ooh.
do you
I
know
have to have that like almond milk creamer in it.
I can do either just creamer or just sugar. Because for me, if you put sugar and creamer, it becomes too sweet for me, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's like I'm eating a bowl of cereal, and I'm like, I can't do it today.
Yeah. It is sweet. I love sweet things though. Like I take some coffee with my cream. You know,
My mom is like that. She's like, I like my cream and sugar with just a little tad touch of coffee,
just like a little bit.
just a
Just
little
like
bit,
this much
like a
coffee
teaspoon, like a
and then
teaspoon.
teaspoon of coffee, 2 tablespoons of creamer, and then we're good to go. Yeah.
Well, before we were doing this, I was sitting here and I was looking on Reddit, and I'm drinking black coffee. Like I said, I ran out of sugar, and I'm like, okay, I'm drinking black coffee. Don't really like it. I was looking on Reddit, and it says 65% of people that drink black coffee are sooner or later going to become serial killers. And I'm like, well, I'm
What?
like, well,
Where did
then
that even come from?
science says, apparently, scientists say 65% of serial killers drink black coffee. Well, I guess you need to get off Zoom with me right now and get off this podcast because I'm going to kill you in the next 10 minutes.
Oh boy. Yeah, apparently. Jeez. Like, hide your kids. Hide your.
There you go. Yeah, hide
Oh my
them because I'm coming.
gosh. That's funny because my sister drinks her coffee black. I mean, she'll sometimes put cream in it, but I know a lot of people who could go either way. Like they're like black coffee people, but will also like they're not offended by a touch of cream.
Now,
Little dash.
how do you do your coffee? Are you like a K cup person, or you like make a regular pot of coffee?
No, I don't have like an actual coffee maker. I just have a Keurig. And
Yeah,
so, but I have a reusable like K cup thing,
yeah.
if that makes
You
sense. So
put the coffee
I
scoop
put
in it.
grounds in it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Saves me so much money.
I bet so. Like, so are
Yeah.
you? Do you have a roommate, or are you living alone? Because I'm curious. Because it's gonna involve.
Yeah. Yeah. I have 2 roommates. Yep.
Okay, so do they drink coffee as well? Because I wonder how much coffee you go through and how big of a thing of coffee you have to buy.
Yeah, no, only one of them drinks coffee, and usually she will buy her own. She likes specific kinds, so she'll actually buy like actual K cups. But I just buy like I like the Dunkin' Donuts,
Okay,
like so I buy like that big orange like tub
right.
of it, and it lasts me forever.
Yeah,
It's great.
I'm a fan of, not everybody is, but I'm a fan of the McDonald's coffee. Like just the that's the
Oh,
coffee I can drink straight black. It's not too strong and it has a great flavor to it. You don't have to add any kind of creamer or sugar. And it's like, but have you noticed how expensive coffee is? Like
it's so expensive.
it's like I think we drink Maxwell House here at the house, and it's like
Yeah.
$11 for a regular tin of coffee, and I'm like, do we really need coffee? I mean, because I can focus without it. Just sometimes if my anxiety's bad, or I just try to do anything to calm it.
Yeah, it has become like part of my morning routine. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm just accustomed to like that warm cup of coffee. And now that it's getting cold, I mean, it just seems like it's like appropriate to have a nice warm cup of coffee. Cause like I never used to drink, I didn't start drinking coffee until I went to college and I had to. I literally had to, or I was not about to survive
Yeah, but do you
because
find
there's no
coffee
sleeping.
that do you find coffee keeps you up though, or because
No, I can fall asleep after drinking a cup of
yeah,
coffee.
me
I don't
too.
know why.
Yeah,
I don't.
me too. I mean,
Isn't that so counterintuitive?
it can be 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, well, I'm craving some coffee. I'm gonna go fix me a cup of coffee, and it's like 30 minutes later, I could be asleep. But
That's what I'm saying. It's weird.
I think it's a mindset. Like I think when time change,
Probably.
like when it falls back or springs forward, that's just a mindset of, oh my God, this time is
Yeah.
killing me. Because it's actually the same time. It's just a mental thing. And I wonder if coffee is this mental state of you're staying up. It keeps me up, so I'm doing it.
Probably because I feel like I have the mindset that, okay, now that I've had my cup of coffee, I am ready to go for the day. But like days when I like just don't have a cup of coffee in the morning, I will just be sluggish. But I think it is like a mental like I don't know, maybe I should test that and just try to be positive and be like, nope.
Yeah.
I've had, just try to trick myself. I've had my cup of coffee for the day, even when I haven't, and then see where yeah, your mind, honestly, you can trick your mind into thinking whatever. It's wild.
Yeah. It's like when you kind of like when you start telling a lie and that lie becomes more
Yeah.
believable to you, and you're like, maybe that did happen. Like, because I've done that a time or two. Nothing too
Right.
crazy, but it's just like, wait, did I do
What
that?
actually happened? Yeah.
Hmm.
I know the mind is a powerful
I'm
thing. It's
trying to.
wild.
Yeah. It's like what did I really do that, or did that person say that, or did I make that up? Like, because I read and
Right.
I watch a lot of documentaries and I just study and focus and research a lot just because I'm a nerd and that's what I got to do. I'm stupid.
Yeah.
what I find what I find interesting, everybody finds stupid. But and so
Hey, to each their own.
I read a lot of stuff and it's just like, did I read that or did I
Right.
think I read it and made it up? And it's just one of
Right.
those. So yeah, your mind can believe a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It is wild to me. I actually I studied neuroscience when I was in college.
Mhm.
So I learned a lot about the brain and the way that just a lot about psychology and the way that we process and train ourselves to think about things and how much power our mind has over our bodies.
Yeah, it's weird because a lot of people, I wonder what it would be like if you could actually legitimately live without a brain. Like I wonder what would happen, like would your body just, if you did not have to have your brain to survive, like you don't have to have your gallbladder or anything like that. I wonder how your body would act. I wonder if it would just go into shell mode or if it would just act normally and you just have different type of body functions.
Honestly, I don't know because your
Your brain
brain
does a
is in charge of
lot. Yeah,
everything.
it's what I'm
It
saying. It does a
literally
lot.
keeps you alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't like you can't live without your brain, but also like you can't have a personality without a brain either. Or like you
Yeah.
can't like what we think of as like a human being,
Mm.
like you wouldn't that just wouldn't exist without like your brain runs not only all of your organs that
Yeah.
we probably like take for granted that they just work so well every day, right? Like but also controlling how we react to situations and
But
like
what
our
if
fight or
but
flight.
what if that brain didn't do that? What if the brain was,
Hmm.
it helped it, but it didn't do that and we lived without a brain? Would we be all be stupid? Would we all be smart? Like, you know what I mean? That's the stupid stuff I think about, that everybody's like, get out of the gutter, quit reading.
I have so many questions. Like I honestly, I would just like probably keep asking you questions. I was like, I would probably need you to be really specific so that I could form an answer because I think that is interesting. But also, I have so many questions. Like
Yeah.
getting into the specifics of everything because I think I don't know. I think it depends.
Yeah.
It just depends. Very relative. Do not know.
Your body is a weird thing because it knows when something is wrong. Like I have he's almost a nephew, he's almost 2. And what's weird to me is how I react to things versus how they react to things. Like
Yeah,
we I've just put up this stupid Christmas tree for my mom. It took me 2.5 days. And so he's
that's
sitting there
sweet.
and we're sitting here, and obviously he's gonna be curious, he's gonna go over and touch it and constantly, Casey, no, 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 hey, what did I say? What did I say? Look at me. No, hey, what did I say? Come here. Stop eating ornament. Come here. Stop. Come here.
Oh,
No. And it's just like
oh,
how weird their brains develop within time, because I don't guess I really realized that when they're little or babies, they can't really comprehend as well as I want them to. And so it irritates me when he's like, he's not listening to a word I'm saying. And it's just like, well, he's 2. And it's just like, I guess I just don't have that, well, not capability, but I guess I just don't realize that you're right. Your brain does grow within time and develops.
yeah.
And you would think that getting burned once on the stovetop is going to teach a kid not to touch it again. Not him. I think he's a little bit mental, a
Oh.
little bit for a minute or two. Because
He
come on,
probably
man.
just likes to push boundaries. He's probably like, well, we'll see if this is different this time. Maybe he's just optimistic. Maybe he's like, this time it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Why do they get to touch the stove with that sponge and wipe it, and I can't touch it with my hand without it hurting me? You know.
Right. I mean, honestly, when I was a kid, I thought I was invincible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really remember that, but the stories that I hear, like, I feel like
Yeah.
I probably thought I was invincible. Like, I would just run outside and like fall down and scrape my knees like over and over and
Yeah,
over
but don't we
again.
all though? But don't we all think we're invincible?
Yeah. 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 Until we start listening to the world tell us that we're not.
I better tie my shoe because if I don't tie my shoe, I'm gonna fall and I'm gonna hurt myself again. So I better learn how to
Yeah.
tie these shoes quick.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a freak
It's
accident
crazy.
when you were little from being invincible?
Um, no. I'm a very careful person. Like I literally the craziest thing that's happened to me really is like like sprained my wrist one time.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very like my mom is a very careful person, so I feel like
Yeah.
I get that from her. Like I was not crazy. I didn't do like crazy things. So, yeah, I don't have any cool stories about like, snapping, my leg or anything. What about you?
I am opposite. I am a very clumsy person. I when I was 2, maybe almost 3, I broke my right arm. I jumped off my play set. I've heard both stories. I jumped and I fell. So I don't know which one is which, but
Okay.
I jumped or fell and I broke my elbow in like 5 different places. And
Oh
to
my
this
gosh.
day, I can't throw a baseball. I can't do anything with my right arm, but I mean, I can do the
What?
main stuff, but I just can't throw anything. If I throw a baseball or just playing with my nephew, it's like 3 times and I'm like, "Okay, I got to sit out. I'm done." And it was yeah, it's crazy arthritis time right now, so I'm keeping like icy hot and all of that because it's killer.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's crazy. That was like that's like a lifetime thing. Like
Yeah.
following you.
Yeah, but I guess
Wow.
I don't think I jumped off any more play
Oh
sets after
man.
that. So I think you learn from,
After that,
Tracy Lawrence has that song, Ooh, Lessons Learned. And so I think that's what happened there. Yeah, that lesson learned.
lesson learned. I guess I won't be jumping off my playset anymore. I feel like
Probably
I,
not.
I feel like I did that a bunch as a kid, like at recess.
Yeah.
Like there were like we would like swing through the bars. I don't know. It was probably not a good idea. We probably shouldn't have done that. I'm pretty sure we weren't supposed to be doing that because we always did it when the aides weren't looking at us, so we wouldn't get caught.
Well, they were never really, they never really look anyways. They always just sit in one big circle and talk. And it's like, I got hurt. Well, what
Yeah,
did you do? You should have been looking and
yeah,
seeing that I did get hurt. You're like,
right. You should have been watching the boys.
yep,
Yeah, you tell them to play touch football, but they're tackling, so it's fine. Let them tackle.
it's nuts. I was taking some crazy notes the other day or yesterday about you, and I realized that your dad had a crazy life. He he lived alone in a trailer and couldn't even afford. He paid for crayons and notebooks for school. Like
Yeah.
that's nuts.
Yeah, it's so crazy, but I think it's the coolest thing because it has made such an impact in my life to hear. Honestly, I don't think I really knew that growing up. I knew that so his dad died when he was 12 and he actually found his dad. He had had like a heart attack when he was like out on the tractor. So my dad found him when he was 12 years old. Like I can't even
Yeah,
imagine that.
yeah,
But he had 6 other brothers and sisters and his mom kind of just like left
yeah,
the kids like at the farm. And so my dad ended up like he like bought his own cattle and then was like renting land from a farmer, bought his own trailer and like was living in a trailer on this farmer's land growing up. He had to pay for everything and like it's interesting talking to him because what we take like what we think is what should be like given to us, like the ability to play sports, the ability to be in choir, the ability to be in band, things like that. Like he wanted to play sports but he didn't have time. He had to go work on the farm. Like he wanted to play football but eventually he had to stop playing football because he had to work. Like he didn't get to do the fun things. I think that I took for granted when I was in high school, like playing basketball or running track and field. And like that took up so much of my time. And like he didn't get to do that because he was working, trying to like support himself, which I honestly, I can't even fathom that or wrap my head around that. And I respect him so much for that because I mean, he built himself up like from the ground up. He built his life and like is such a great person, such a giving person, and I just want to be like that. And he's also so supportive of me like following my dream to like be in Nashville doing the music thing because he took a bunch of risks when he was younger too. Like people were like, "Oh, don't move, don't move to the big city. Like that's scary and you just never know what's going to happen there." And he's like, "No. I feel like this is what I should do, so I'm going to do it and I'm going to take the risk and if I fall on my face, I fall on my face and I'll get back up." And just having, I think growing up with that mentality has done a lot for me and my siblings. So yeah, he's incredible.
But I think with you playing sports, that was probably him telling himself, I did okay for myself. Because my parents have told me, and I wonder if yours just told you this, don't wind up like me. Don't end up like me. Go make something of yourself.
Yeah, so my dad's a truck driver and
Mm,
it's just like not a luxurious life. And like he has built such a great life for our family. Like we truly have never had to like want for anything and like
yeah.
like so blessed in that way. And but he like when I was younger growing up, like he was gone a lot, like trucking, like he wasn't home. I mean, a lot of the time it was just me and my sister and my mom and then my little brother. And when my little brother was born, we're 10 years apart, and my dad started being, he was like home a little bit more. And now he's like, I think he's just tired of like the trucking life and he's really like trying to get out of it because he wants to be home. So yeah, it's not like he was always like, don't marry a truck driver. And he always told my brother Trevor, like, you're not gonna be a truck driver. Like you're gonna do something else. Like he's been able to make a great life being a truck driver, but it's not ideal to be gone from your family. So in that sense, yeah.
You know, I grew up like that. My dad was always gone. He was working, and if he wasn't working, he was chatting with his friends or he was gone deer hunting or whatever. And so it was I was really, even though dad was in the picture and is still married to my mom, it's like he wasn't there. And there was, it's like you don't have that father son relationship that you see everywhere. And you're kind of like, I don't know if I want that just because I haven't had it. And my dad has
Right.
come out, my dad has come out and said, hey, look, I was never a dad. So be one. He said, I was there and I supported you and I was there, but I was never there. I never helped your mom raise you, you three, me, my brother, my sister. And he was
Yeah.
just like, be better. And
Yeah.
when I heard your song, Loving My Mama, it made me tear up because he wasn't there, but I love my mom so much that it's just like, thank you for not breaking her, and it's like,
Yeah.
because he can give love that I can't. And you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I love my mom so much. And it's like, thank you for showing her what it's like. And it's like, I'm getting teared up now because you're just like, it's one of those things. And I know this is a daughter to father song, but I found that very similar to my life.
Yeah, and I think I mean the perspective that we wrote it from too is like obviously I love my mom's friend. I love my mom, but I think was so amazed at the fact that my dad didn't really have any like adult figure to show him how to love
Right. Yeah.
and how to be like a good husband, a good father, a good whatever. Cause I mean, he was so young when his dad passed away. Um, and I just think the way that he was able to be a good dad and a good husband, like you just can't really ask for more than that. Like that is just incredible. And like him being a good dad is a gift
Yeah.
to, you know, my mom as well. And so just the whole thing, like, yeah, my mom deserves the moon and the stars and the entire universe and the world. And the fact that he works hard to give her that or to try to give her that is more than like enough. Like that I appreciate it so much. And I feel like that was maybe something that wasn't really said in music. And so um I thought it, yeah, we thought it was an important message.
Yeah, and I I struggle from this bad anxiety, and I was talking to my doctor and she was like, "Why don't you just start writing a journal? Just whatever's on your mind, write a journal." And so I was like, I did. I started it in like May or June, and I was embarrassed. I was like, "What kind of guy keeps a journal?" And then Matthew McConaughey put out his book and he was like, "This is from my 30 years of journaling." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, I'm gonna start journal," because it was a mentality. That's a female thing to do. Write a journal, write a diary. When I was realized one of the manliest men, Matthew McConaughey, does it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna start writing in it like I'm supposed to. And I wrote in it
Yeah.
kind of how what you were saying, what your dad was like. I was complaining one day, I just in a just one of those days, nothing was going right.
Yeah.
And mom goes, "Man up," told me to man up, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like
Yeah.
from a different, it was just, well, what, well, and then I took to my journal and I was like, went to Webster's and I wrote down the definition of a man. And I went through and I said, well, I don't know how to be that. What is a man in definition? What is that in life? Is that supporting family? Is that becoming successful? Is that not crying? Is that being tough? Is that being a skinny, buff, muscular guy? It was just like it wasn't there. It's still not there. It's like
Right.
what is it? And I was talking to my mom about it. She was like, I was talking to her and she was like, "You're crazy. You're just reading all this stuff." And I'm like, "No, it's one of those." She doesn't want to believe it. She doesn't want to think about it just because she knows it's true. And I'm just like,
Right.
what is that thing? And I'm going through it now, and I'm reading some stuff, and I'm just trying to find people that are similar to how I am, talk about it,
Yeah.
and that's why I say this all the time, that Matthew McConaughey book has changed my life, because he is his mental state in the book is like, look, here's all my red lights, yellow lights in life. They stopped me, they slowed me down, but there was always a green light that changed, either in the left lane, the right lane, or straight ahead. Find the green light and a red light. I'm like, I'm
Mm.
going to use that every day in my life, and I have
Wow.
every day.
I need to read his book. That's actually one that's been on my list recently because I've been listening to a few podcast interviews that he's
Yeah,
done and man, he is just so insightful.
you know, I got the book as a joke because my mom is such
Oh.
that's her celebrity crush, Matthew McConaughey and Patrick Swayze.
Oh,
Those are the two.
as they're all of our crushes. Oh my gosh. I mean,
And,
Matthew McConaughey, come on.
and I got it, and I was like, just to say, hey, look what I got, and you don't. I'm gonna read it, and I started reading it, and it is effing fascinating. It was like one of those books that you can't put down, and I said, oh my goodness. And it was one of those that I had to stop myself. Okay, I have to read one chapter because I'm going to continue going and I'm going to finish it in like a day. And so I had to space it out between 2 weeks because I knew that I was going to be done with it pretty soon. It was going to be over. So I would highly recommend to read
Right.
it. It's really, really good.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I need to just like bite the bullet and get it. I feel like I always all of these good books and I see all these amazing recommendations. Like people will post it like on Instagram and I screenshot them all and I put them on my Goodreads list to like read and then I'll get them and then but I'm like, I just need to find the time to read these because I will binge. Like I'm such a binge
Yep.
reader.
Mm-hmm.
I like have a hard time just like one chapter a day, 10 minutes a day. I'm like, no, because when I start, I don't want to stop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just want to sit there for an hour and read or
I,
something.
I wonder, I'm the same way as this. I wonder if you're like me. When I go to like a Barnes and Noble or if I'm shopping online for a book, I have to limit myself to one because I know I will buy more than I can read. Like I have 3 that I'm reading right now, and then I bought 3 more yesterday, and I have another one I bought like 4 months ago. I still haven't read. It's just like they're gonna keep piling up sooner or later. Can you hear me?
I
Did
think my can you
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
sorry, I think my internet was like unstable there for a second. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. What
We
didn't
love
you hear?
I don't think I heard anything that you just said. Like you just came
uh,
back in.
um,
We're talking about books
yeah, that's right.
and getting too many.
Getting too many. I said I have 3 that I'm currently reading now, and I bought 3 more yesterday. And it's like I need to read those 3, but the 3 that I got yesterday look more interesting than what I'm reading now.
Right.
And it's like then I'll forget what happened in the 3 books I'm reading, and I have to go back and
Yes,
it's a
it's a
problem.
mess.
It's a problem.
It's a mess. I have 3 books on my nightstand right now and um and then I also have probably like 2 to 3 other books like on the shelf that I've like started and I've gotten like a little ways in. But then I got one of the new books and started one of the new books instead. And
What
then like, like put it away. And I'm like, why do I do that?
what genre of books do you like the most?
You know, I okay, so this is I don't know if you know who this is, but um I love like I don't want to call them self-help books, but like just like inspiring, like Matthew McConaughey's book. Um I really love Rachel Hollis. I don't know if you know who she
Mm-mm.
is, but she's like a motivational like speaker. She wrote
Okay.
the book Girl Wash Your Face and she just has such incredible insight like about life and about chasing your dreams and like not settling. And I just love that and I feel like it applies to my life so much. And so she's put out like she just put out a book that she wrote like this year during all of this COVID stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um and she's also going through a divorce. And so she like wrote about what you do like when it gets hard. Like what do you do? You just this is how she gets through kind of thing. So I'm reading that right now and I just really love that. I also I'm trying to think. I love Bob Goff. I've really been getting into Bob Goff's books lately. Like Everybody Always, just I don't know, just good books that remind you like how to treat others well and like um I don't know, like trust that like God has a plan and I just love that and I just need that as part of my day. Just that little sprinkle of like hope and
Yeah.
goodness I think can like change my attitude around. Um so I've been really loving those right now in this season, I think that I'm
Mm-hmm.
in my life. But I mean I love a good like psychological thriller though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Have you read Where the Crawdads Sing?
I was going to because that was Jimmy Fallon does every year does like a read along with his watchers or something. I'd seen him put it on Instagram or Twitter, and I was
Yeah.
going to read it, but I don't know if I want to read it because that's not my type of book that I read. But I say that, and then I just bought a book that's not in my wheelhouse.
I think you need to read it.
What is it? What is it? What kind of type is it?
I don't even know.
Like, what is it
It's well,
about?
mm, I have to be careful what I say.
Okay. All right.
Um, it is about a girl who lives in a swamp, and that's
Okay.
and there's like a murder, okay, that happened, and pretty much I feel like the book is just so well written, and honestly, when I got done reading it, I had to go back and like reread parts of the book. I've never done that before, but it did such a good. Normally, I feel like I can figure out what's gonna happen and like who did what and exactly how things happen. Like I feel like because people just drop hints so hard in
Mm,
books,
mm,
which is fine. It is what it is. But this book, I literally had no idea. I mean, I stayed up until like I think it was like 2 a.m. finishing this book. I finished it in a day. And my blood pressure was like through the roof when
mm.
I finished this book, that my Apple Watch was like, breathe. You need to breathe. Like your
Dang.
blood pressure has spiked. Like you need to just calm down. Like, at the end. Honestly, the first part of the book is a little bit tough to get through because there's a lot of background information that you need to know to get to the back half of the book. And the back half of the book, like once you're in it, it just goes and you can't put it down.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I'll check it out. I I wrote it down
Check it
to
out.
I wrote it down to just at least see about it.
It's hard because it's hard because I can't really explain a lot without
I
giving
got you.
it away.
I got you.
And I
I
don't
am
and I don't want to spoil anything.
I am trying to. I was while you were talking, I was looking at my bookshelf because I can't remember what book it was, but I was reading a book and it was so good that once I finished the final words, I went back and started rereading it immediately. But I
What?
cannot, for the life of me, can't seem to think of what it was. Maybe
You
it'll
have
come.
to find it.
I have to find it. Maybe it'll come
You
to me.
have
Like
to.
I don't know. I'll look and I'll message you
Okay.
whatever if I don't think about it before we're done. But
Amazing.
yeah, it was one of those, and it's a memoir, so it's someone wrote
Oh,
something about their life, and for the life of me I can't remember, but it was just as soon as it was over, I said, "Oh my god!" And I went back and started rereading it again because it was just
wow.
fascinating.
Do you know Thomas Rhett, right?
Hmm.
And
I
his
don't know. I
his
don't know
wife,
him, but yeah,
right? But like you know of
I'm
him,
aware. Yeah.
and like yeah. And his wife Lauren. So Lauren just wrote
Mhm.
like had her first book
Yeah.
published, and so okay, little secret about me. I love Lauren.
You
I
met her.
love her. I met her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just love her. We are going to be friends one day. She doesn't know it yet, but we will be great friends. I just adore her. She just has such a big heart. And anyway, her book, uh,
Was it good?
I don't even know what to say. I read it so fast and I like gave it to all of my girlfriends who have all read it so fast. Like in record time. It's just so good. She just like she didn't go to school to be an author. Like she just literally wrote so authentically, and it wasn't even a lot about Thomas Rhett either.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about the book is she like literally wrote, like she is in the public eye, like she's famous, she has a platform herself, which is so great, and she uses it for amazing things. But it's just interesting to see how she grew up and like what we perceive as perfection and what we perceive on the outside as like that's the goal, that's the dream, like were some of her toughest moments in her life. And it's just, man, it just makes you feel human again. Like it just makes you feel like, oh wow, we all are actually humans. You know what I mean? It's so cool.
The book that I was thinking about it's called A Walk to Beautiful. Do you know the country singer Jimmy Wayne? back in the early 2000s. He had that song, Do You Believe Me Now? You may not know that song, but I think if you would hear it, you would know it.
Okay.
His life story is so heartbreaking. It is the only book
Oh,
I have ever cried in. It was just like he would sit in the living room and hear his mom having sex in the room with a bunch of these men. He was beaten, he was battered, he was bruised, and he
oh
was
my
thrown out there when he was like 14. He was poor, he was broke. And it was like, oh my God. And once it was over, it's called A Walk to Beautiful because he did I think he did like a so many month walk, and he was like raising money for charity, and he
yeah.
walked to what he called Walk to Beautiful. He walked his mind around where he was at, and he said the book came to him while he was walking, and it was like, man, like it was it was fantastic. Very
Wow.
sad, but it's a good motivational book to be like, look where I came from, and look
Right.
where I'm at now. And you know, I don't think books have to be self-help in order for you to learn something from them. Like, are you
Yeah.
really going to learn something from a Joel McHale or a Bob Saget book? Probably not, because they're going to be goofy the whole time. But somebody that's actually
Yeah.
had a hard life and they've grown from where they were, it doesn't necessarily have to be a self-help. It can just be soothing as is.
Yeah, and just like motivational in its own way too. Like you don't even have to have that purpose behind what you're writing, but I
Mm.
feel like when you're reading books that are written so authentically, you can't not have that in there. It's just going to flow naturally from the words. And people are going to take it differently too. Like I'm sure the way that I perceived Lauren's book is different than a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like I took something different from the book that meant more to me than maybe one of my friends, you know?
Yeah, it's and people are gonna be like, "Are you serious?" But I read the Steve Jobs book. Walter Isaacson wrote it. For me, it was fast. I found it so fascinating. I have a 5 subject notebook. Half of it is full of notes from that book, just because I loved how Steve Jobs thought. Like, yes, he was a dick and the one of the worst humans on the planet, but he knew what he wanted, how to run the business, wasn't going to let anybody run
Yeah.
over him. If it was crap, he was not afraid to tell you, that's crap work. You need to be better. Could he have taken a different
Right.
route and doing it? Yes, but would it have hit as emotionally as it did? Probably not.
Right.
Yeah,
No, you're so right. And have you ever read that book that I forget who it's by. It's about habits. It's like yellow. I literally can see it in my mind and I can't. Oh, it's called The Power of Habit.
mm-mm. Let me write that down.
It's literally like talks it's so good. It literally talks about how we create habits, because a lot of our habits that we create are very like we don't think about them. They're like we unconsciously like create habits, and so but we have to consciously break those habits, and that's like uncomfortable sometimes, and it just like it just goes over like the psychology behind habits, how we form them, why we form them, and how we can break bad habits and form great new habits. And so that's something that I was like trying to focus on during all of like the shutdown of the year is I was trying to bring that into my life,
Mm.
trying to break break any bad habits or just like not helpful habits, and trying to start something new in it. And it says like 30 days. If you can do something for 30 days, like it becomes part of
Becomes
your
habit. Yeah,
routine. It
yeah.
becomes habit. And I don't know. I love books like that. I'm just like something that I can use in my life too and just feel inspired. I I love that. I'm here for all of that.
Well, one of my favorite authors is Malcolm Gladwell. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he writes these books. He wrote one called Blink, and it's like going with your gut. And he takes these true life stories and turns it into a self-help book. Like, look, this is how this guy, like, there's a a story in it where this person found a painting, and people were like, I want to buy this one. I'm going to give you this. Well, he had it appraised, and it was appraised for like so many millions of dollars. And they were like, well, if you give it to him right now, $200,000. And he was like, man, I'm homeless. I need the money, but somebody told me it was worth more, and I don't want to sell it for that. And they come around and sell it from under me for more expensive.
Right.
Kept going, kept going. He finally sold it for like two point something million dollars, because he went with his gut and was like, my gut says to keep it because someone is going to come along the way and do it. And he was like, if you just perceive and you keep at it, it's going to work. Like, I love Malcolm Gladwell because he writes those. It's something I've never seen it done in books before. Like, you can take your life story, but he takes other people's life stories and does that.
Yeah.
And it's like, man.
That's so cool. I love that. I'm such a gut person.
Yeah.
I literally am such a, like, I will be like, something good's coming. Or I'll like just know that maybe I don't know. Like, I'll feel uneasy about maybe a person or uneasy about a situation. And usually it's right.
You know, I had that same situation happen because I use my gut on certain things, but I never use my gut for the podcast. Like, for a guest, I was like, I'm not going to use it because my gut is usually right, but I don't want to take a chance and it be wrong
Right.
for the podcast. And
Right.
one time I went with my gut, and that was the best decision I ever made. Uh, while we were quarantining, the Black Lives Matter thing happened and blew up. My county had a peaceful protest where you just went around and you shared stories. And I had one of my great friends, Shira Galloway, come on, and she brought a friend. And my gut told me, hey, you need to do a podcast about this. Show people where you stand, get two African Americans together and one white guy. And you see it from each other's perspective. You see it how you see it, and they see it how they see it. I was nervous. I was scared to death because I didn't want it to come out. I didn't know how it was going to come out, and I didn't want it to come out bad
Right.
when I was meaning good. But I went with my gut, and it was the best decision I ever made because that is now the highest streamed podcast of the whole show, and it's gotten like
Wow,
six,
that's amazing.
it's got like 600,000 streams or something like that, and it's
Congratulations.
like going with your, and
That's amazing.
that's why that book meant a lot to me, because that book helped, you know. So I was coming back to the book thing because I'm gonna led to a great segue that I want to ask you. The question I want to ask you is, Malcolm Gladwell also wrote another book called David and Goliath. And my question to you is, what is your David and Goliath story? I'll explain. In the book,
Okay.
he talks about David. Everybody knows the Bible story of David and Goliath. David killed Goliath with a stone. He goes into more depth, and he's like, look, he goes with all these researchers, and Goliath had this disease, and he was half blind. So he did not see David coming up from the hills. He was like, that's a mighty warrior, and he's going to fight me. When in actuality, it was little bitty 4-foot David to 6'8" Goliath or whatever. And David was like, I'm going to fight Goliath. I have this feeling I'm going to fight Goliath. And whoever, I don't
Hmm.
remember somebody told him, no, you need all this armor. He said, no, I'm going to go my
Yeah.
own way with this. I'm not going to go what people tell me. I want to go this way. And he brought a stone, and you know how it ended. David beat Goliath. And I wonder,
Mhm.
have you ever done something someone has told you not to do, and you do it, and it turns out to be a good decision rather than bad?
Yeah.
What is it?
100%. So I went to college for 4 years after high school. I studied biology and neuroscience and got into two medical schools and was planning to go to medical school to be a physician. And I have been doing music my entire life. And I was kind of at a point in life where I was like not completely filled up if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Like just not getting like enough out of what I was doing. I love science. I love people. Oh my gosh, I love people so much. Um and but I just didn't feel like it was right, and I literally a month before I was supposed to start school, I was literally enrolled. Okay,
Mhm.
I had my white
Right.
coat with my last name on it. I had a stethoscope ready to go for me.
Yeah.
I felt like and people can believe what they want, but I will say this to the end of time. Like, I think God changed my heart, and God was like, actually, I know you worked hard for the last 4 years and you killed yourself to get into medical school. But actually, now I want you to move to Nashville and actually do music again. Um, and it was the hardest thing. I mean, I I literally didn't tell my mom for like I had made my decision, and I called my dad, and I told my dad, and my dad's like, it's about time. And the best response I could have received, but I didn't tell my mom for a while because of course moms worry about everything,
How are you
the,
going to pay your bills?
finances
You
and
don't have a job. You can't just leave and not have a
exactly.
job. Yeah, I've been told that.
Exactly. Yep. It was, and that's exactly how it went too. And
Mm.
she's so supportive, like just as supportive as my dad, if not more. She just worries more, about all the things. And my dad's more just like, go with the flow. Like, we're going to figure it out. Like, Brooke will figure it out. It's going to be great. Um, and I feel like a lot of people were like, what is she doing?
She may have to
Like,
prostitute for a few minutes, but she's going to get it figured out. She's going to make some money.
literally, like people are like, what is she doing? And a lot of people that I went to college with too, like
Yeah.
I didn't do like a ton of singing when I was in school because I was literally trying to get into med school, and it was insane. It was an insane 4 years of my life. And like people knew that I sang, but I don't think people realized the amount that it consumes me. Like just music is my being, and I think
Mhm.
it was easy for me to get caught up in school and kind of forget that.
Yeah.
And so I had to come to the hard realization that I need to do music. I need to do the hard thing, and I need to do the unknown thing, because this is not promise. I can work my butt off and still not,
Mhm.
get a record deal and
Yeah.
not, do all these things. So I think a lot of that was about me trusting that God is going to bring good things. And like he has brought so many good things. I've been living in Nashville for 2.5 years now. I have met some of the most amazing people. I'm so genuinely happy, like every day that I get to do this, that I get to make music. It's truly so incredible. And I have found like so many amazing, like, friends in faith as well. And I think I've just human being down here too. And not having my family here, like it forces you to grow up, and it
Yeah.
forces you to learn some hard lessons. And I think that's necessary, because to be in the music industry, you have got to have it sort of together, like in order to like do things that are good for you and be able to stand up for yourself and like your music and your art that you're creating.
You need
And
to have at least the outside, the sky and the fence and the grass puzzle pieces together, and then you can fill in the fun part of the puzzle, the middle part where
yeah,
everything comes together into one once you get there and you kind of figure out.
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know if that makes
exactly.
sense,
And
but
no, 100% it does. And like everything that I'm doing is unknown. Like I had a life, like I could have gone to medical school. I could be in my third year of medical school right now with all my college friends, but instead I'm in Nashville. I'm working part-time as a waitress and just to make money,
mm,
because we don't make money on
no.
music until, you know, later. Later on. Um
Yeah.
So, and it's hard. It's so hard, but it really is good, and it's worth it every day.
Yeah. What was it like at 15 recording an album with Sony?
Yeah, I recorded at Sony ATV Tree Studios on Music Row. It was crazy. I think at 15, I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
I think I had my own perspective of the music industry, just like what I don't know what I thought it would be like, and it was very different, but it really was awesome. I feel like it forced me to grow up a lot sooner because I was having to have business conversations, which my
Yeah.
parents were there as well, but I was having to have like grown-up conversations, and not only about my career and my music, but also, in the studio. Just at 15 years old, I didn't really know how to communicate what I wanted to hear, what I wanted my song to sound like, or
Mhm.
what I imagine this song ultimately feeling like when you listen back to it. So those were all things that I had to learn, and I'm so grateful for that experience because I feel like I'm so much more capable when I get now of like communicating with people
Yeah.
and knowing the lingo of the music industry and kind of knowing how things go. Like, it was a surreal experience. I mean, the sound engineer that I worked with, the producers, the um studio musicians, oh man, these people are incredibly talented and
Yeah.
were so good to me. I mean, I was 15. Like, I was a
Yeah.
kid, and they were so nice to me, and they, like, whether or not they were lying, they said that they like and loved my voice, and that does so much for a 15-year-old's confidence, because you're still
Yeah.
building confidence at 15. I
Well,
mean, man, I'm still building confidence at 24.
yeah. Yeah. It's, and those producers that fixed in the mixers, they're very talented because I know if I have to go in here and put a song in the middle or whatever I have to do, I get so frustrated. I'm like, I got to start all over again. Let's go. And I have to start all over. And I'm like,
Right.
damn, why did I cut off when they said yes? And I need to start back. That's a
Yeah.
headache that I do not want. Cause I mean, imagine screwing somebody's music up and losing
I know. I can't imagine.
it.
I just don't even know. I don't. It stresses me out to even think about it.
Yeah. Have you listened to any new music this year? Because I heard people say that they haven't really listened to music since being in quarantine. Man, that's
Really?
all I have time for. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not really going anywhere. I listen to music and
Right.
podcasts.
See, podcasts. I've been getting into podcasts this year. I love running outside, and
Yeah.
I've been trying to like run longer distances, so I need something really substantial for me to listen to. And sometimes I'm just not in a music, like sometimes I need a distraction so that I can keep going.
What podcast do
So
you
I've
listen
been
to?
I like to listen to comedy podcasts.
Okay,
I
that's my
don't know
style.
if that's weird or not, but
Uh-uh.
I just love comedy podcasts. There's have you heard of Girls Gotta Eat? They're like two middle-aged
I
women.
yes, I haven't listened to it, but I know what you're talking about.
They are just hilarious. Like, I love them. One of my friends told me about them like a few years back, and I kind of listened to them sporadically off and on. No, during quarantine when it started, I was listening to them religiously. Like, every week, every Monday when they drop an episode, I'm like listening to it, and I love their podcast so much. And I also love Rachel Hollis has a podcast.
Okay.
Um and I love that too. I just honestly I love just looking for new podcasts to listen to too, because it depends on the mood I'm in, Like, when I'm driving too, I love listening to podcasts, but it's like, what mood am I in? Cuz I've listened to a few like of those like crime podcasts.
Mhm.
Some of those freak me out though.
But it's not the same as watching them. Like, but people
Right.
go, I like watching listen to the crime podcast. Why? You can't see any. They don't reenact it. They're just telling you the story. And what if you just
They're
go on a
telling
day?
you.
What if you go on a daze? Because I go on days while driving. Just how did I get here?
Right.
You just lost in your mind. Then you forget what happened. How did he kill her? You're not watching it. So I,
Yeah.
but I love comedy podcasts. I listen to
Yeah.
Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan, Burt Kreischer, all those comedy guys. I really do enjoy
Yeah.
that.
It just like brightens your day. I'm just like, I don't think I'm a very funny person, so
Mm.
I just love hearing people just crack joke. I mean, it's just a natural thing for some people, and I just enjoy listening to it so much. And when I'm running, I like am in so much pain, that I'm like, I need something to distract me from my pain. So I will literally laugh out loud when I'm huffing and puffing and like people probably think I'm about to pass out and die. I'm just like, I just will burst into laughter because like, I don't know. The girls are so funny on Girls Gotta Eat. Ashley and Raina, oh, they kill me.
Let me tell you, I think I am somewhat funny sometimes. I can be, I think. Um, what others think, no, then what others think, probably not. But let me tell you how hard these stand-up comedians have it. I, l- I love stand-up comedy. That is one of my
Yeah.
loves. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And I write stand-up comedy. Do you know how hard that is? Because you can make yourself laugh on anything. But making someone
Right.
else laugh is the hardest
Right.
thing to ever do in your life.
I suppose I've never thought about it like that. Because what you think is funny might not come off funny to other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. It's because I was going to get out there because up here, about 45 miles away, they do a open mic night. And I was going to go up there and do it. And then the
Oh,
stupid COVID
that's
happened
great.
and you couldn't do anything. And so I was like,
Oh,
well,
dang
there goes
it.
that.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Everything has gotten canceled this year.
Everything.
But hopefully things will, I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
not,
maybe do like a live. Have you ever like done like a live?
nope, not going to.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, it was worth it. I want to throw it out there just in
Nope.
case.
Nope. Not gonna happen.
Just in case.
Don't have that big of a fan base to do that anyway. So like what, two people will be watching? Oh, there you go.
Hey, two is better than one.
I know. And two is better than none.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you got to start small. That's what I did during quarantine. I had to go live because I was like, well, I'm not going to be playing for like 6 months. So,
Yeah. Do,
which playing live isn't great, but
when but have you found yourself listening to more things since COVID's happened or since quarantine has happened? Like more than you usually would? Whether it be podcast or
yes.
music.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
Have you
Yes.
listened?
But definitely podcasts, music. Yes. But like particular things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big radio person. Like, I usually am like, cue that Spotify up.
Well, me either, because one, I can just listen to what I want to on my
Yeah.
phone, and they go through too many
Yeah.
commercials. So it's like when I listen
Yeah.
to Bobby Bones, I don't listen to Bobby Bones on the radio because they're on for 5 minutes and then they're gone. And it's just like, well, this is
Right.
stupid, but it's like, it's a waste of time. I can just wait for the podcast to load up and listen to it,
Right.
without commercials.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but
Right.
have you heard, and I wonder, have you heard the new Chris Stapleton album?
Oh my,
I mean, is that a yes or a
I
no?
love I love him. He's insane.
I
That
let me tell you what I thought was going to happen with Chris Stapleton. I thought he had three banger albums. I mean, Traveler, From a Room One, From a
yeah.
Room Two, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh man, starting over. Here we go. This is where Chris Stapleton is going to, i.e., start over, and he's going to change, and his album is going to be terrible. That album is freaking fantastic. From
He's
1 to
fantastic.
14. It now there are a couple songs like on every album that you like less than the
Yeah.
others, but that song, the whole thing is great. The songs, the whatever they
Right.
do is
The
fantastic.
writing. He I don't know what he is. I literally just don't even know if
He is
there's
a
words.
godsend.
Uh,
Well,
like where was he my whole entire childhood?
writing
Because
songs.
I feel like right. Because I didn't even know anything about him until what did he win? Male vocalist at like the CMA Awards, like what, 5-6 years ago, and I was like, who is this
You know what?
guy?
I remember when he put out Traveler, and I remember everybody like just different country singers that I followed on Instagram and Twitter be like, glad to see Chris Stapleton has a new album. And I'm like, who is Chris Stapleton? And then it was like, oh, that's Chris Stapleton. That is Chris Stapleton. So
Yep.
what song on the Starting Over is your favorite?
Um, Probably the is it Whiskey Sunrise?
Yeah, that's it. Whiskey Sunrise.
Yeah, I love that. I just the way that he moves his voice. So for me, I love lyrics, okay?
Ooh.
Like lyrics will get me, but it is the way that someone makes me feel.
Yeah.
Honestly, yes, I'm a songwriter, but like probably number one, like I care about vocals and I care about how someone is making me feel. And I feel like that man can make me feel
Man.
by literally just moving his voice. And the way that he can, his melodies are just pristine. Okay. The way that he moves his voice, the way that he communicates it, the emotion, I just don't know that anyone does it like that.
You
That
know,
is the goal right here.
you've mentioned you say that about how it makes you feel. For me, when I was listening to him, he was just that guy could sing and he knows how to write a song. But on this album in
Yeah.
particular, it was like, okay, he can make me feel because but maybe a little over a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, um, I lost my dog from of man, I was 12 and she seen me go into adulthood and she lost the use of her back legs. And I was like, if she's not better tomorrow, I'll take her to the vet. There was no tomorrow.
Oh,
And I remember
I'm so
Chris
sorry.
Stapleton. Chris Stapleton wrote the song Maggie's Song. And he said she lost the use of her back legs. And I was like, wait till tomorrow. And there was no tomorrow. I was like, somebody has finally figured out what it's like. Somebody finally knows
Oh
me.
my gosh.
That, I mean, it was just, that's exactly what
This
I
is making
needed.
me emotional.
That's exactly what, and it was just like, he had the same thing happen to him that happened to me. And it's just like, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to get my journal out. The dog is let go. It was just that you needed it. You needed somebody to understand where you're coming from instead of
Yeah.
she died a year ago. You need to get over it. And it was just like, you need to shut up and leave me alone. And it was just like,
Yeah.
but when he came out with that, and it was like, somebody understands and went through exactly what I went through. And that was what it was just like, okay, I can breathe. I'm good. And so that
Yeah.
is when Chris Stapleton finally was like, he made me feel like, like John
Yeah.
Mayer, when he
Yeah.
released Continuum and Stop This Train. And I was like 13 and knew I was growing up. And it was like, so scared of getting older. You don't want to see your parents die. And it was like,
Right.
whoa, John Mayer's doing the same thing I'm going through. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, ooh, yeah. I love people that could do that. It just, man.
You're like, are they writing about my life or
Yeah,
it
it's
just
like,
it hits you different. That's
yeah,
crazy that you just said that because my first dog, we had to put her down 2 years ago now. In January it will be 2 years and like one was one of the hardest things in my life.
yeah,
Hands down.
mm,
But like also she lost like the use of her back legs and like
yeah,
she just like couldn't like walk anymore. So that's crazy because I don't know that I haven't really like talked to people that have that was why, their dog passed and
yeah.
that's
It
so
was fun.
sad.
It was funny because my dog Gracie, it happened to her once, and we took her to the vet. And I hate this vet. I This vet
Oh,
makes me want to commit murder sometimes because he goes, "Oh, she probably fell off the couch and she broke her back." Dude, she broke her back. She's walking on her front legs, you dummy. Where'd
right.
you get your license at? Clown University? And he goes,
Oh,
no, she
what?
probably did. And I said, okay. Sent her home with like different kinds of medicine. She gained it back. And then I was like, stupid vet, see what happened? She didn't. She wasn't back wasn't broken, and then it happened again, and that was it. So it was like, it was just that feeling of, oh, it's my fault because I should have took and got a second opinion. But then once,
Mm,
but it's like once Chris Stapleton had said that, it was like somebody feels
yeah.
like I felt. It was just like it was just that
Feel
feeling of
understood.
it was that feeling of yes, you're understood. Someone understands, and they're not calling you crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
it's
He's unapologetically authentic. He says it how it is, and we need more of that in music. Because just like you said, people go through crap,
yeah,
whether it is losing your dog or losing a human being. Those are both traumatic experiences for people, and we need to be authentic when we're writing about them because like that's what people connect to, just like you did.
yeah. It's it's crazy. And then Morgan Wallen's killing it now. I mean,
Morgan Wallen's slang, okay, you know who's slang the game? Okay, Hardy.
100%. 100%. I was when he came out with Rednecker, I was like, this guy's okay. Then he released his new album, A Rock. That album is fantastic.
Insane. It is insane.
I was
I
like,
don't, oh,
oh my,
that guy.
because I liked that song One Beer. And then I was like, well, I like Hardy
Yeah.
okay. I'll listen to the album. And then he
Yeah.
had that album Broke Boy, or that song Broke Boy, and then So Close. And I was like, oh my goodness, this album is the jam. Plus he's from
Yeah.
Mississippi, so you gotta represent your Mississippi family. So it was like, whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
A rock like that. That song for me, I literally remember when I first heard it, I was in my car and I literally was like talking out loud. I was like, what? Like after like the first verse, I was like, oh, what? Because I was like, a rock, that sounds dumb, but it's Hardy. So I'm like, where are we going? Where's he taking me? And I had no idea that that's where he was going to
You know,
take me.
I
And I was like,
love
this is brilliant.
I love songs that do that because for those that hadn't heard the hardest song, it goes, when he's a kid, he skips a rock. He meets a girl, gives her a rock. He dies and gets his name engraved on a rock. And I'm like,
On a rock. Ah!
and
No,
then
and then when you're a
the
teenager, you're stuck between a hard place and a
and a
rock.
rock.
What?
And it's like, and then the end, it's like, but you realize the whole world is just one big rock. And you're like,
Mic
what is
drop.
he doing?
Tears just fall and you just don't know what's happening anymore. Is
Yeah,
what is what it does to you.
that Hardy album is killer. Like it is
I love
nuts.
him. He's insane.
Did
I
you
don't even understand him.
have you heard his song Sign Sober You? Song for one of his earlier EPs.
Yes, I did. Yes. I did someone asked me on TikTok to do a girl version.
Okay.
So I posted like a girl version of it. And I
Okay.
was like, this is one of the best things that someone could have asked me to do. Like, great idea. This is amazing.
I'm not much
It's
for
so good.
fast upbeat songs, but I think on that same EP he has that song All She Left Was Me. You ever heard
On
that one?
the
One of
I don't
the
know if I
EPs, he's
have.
like, she took She took my fire, took my car, and found string. All she left was
Oh,
me, or something like that.
yep.
That to me,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. But yeah, and Hardy writing possibly Blake Shelton's biggest song, "God's Country," is amazing. It's because that's I will still jam out to God's Country now, and it came out 3 years ago.
100%. I was actually talking about that with friends the other day and they were like, some people were hating on that song. And I was like,
What?
y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Some of my songwriting friends just like don't like they were just like, I just feel like it just isn't a good song. And I was like,
You
guys,
are
that's literally
nuts.
like I thought that was the best move Blake Shelton could have made is to put that song out because that song is Blake Shelton and like his voice sounds insane on it. Also, I don't know what it is, but that song just like I love it. It makes me feel something. I don't know what it is.
And Blake Shelton can sing. Like, I think he's an
I know.
underrated singer because he just doesn't show his vocal
100%.
abilities. And then God's Country was
Right.
just kind of like He's
It was
loud.
like a southern rock.
He can sing, and it was like, man, because what I can. If you think of Blake Shelton, you can name numerous songs because he's had like 30 number ones. But before
Yeah.
Old Red, like nothing beats Old Red. Now I think God's
Yeah.
Country can close out his show. Like I went to a show and he closed with Old Red and got this big ovation. Now I think he can close with God's Country and just get the biggest ovation, period. I think this is the
Yeah.
biggest song of his career, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. And I think he needed a little bit of a comeback at that point because he hadn't done anything for like a hot minute, like nothing like super
Yeah.
big, I feel like. But
Yeah.
then when he hit got when I remember when he dropped God's Country, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, you're back in the game. Okay. Let's go."
If you think that version is good, have you heard Hardy do God's Country?
Oh my God, no.
Go
Wait,
to
where do
you.
I find that?
He put it on YouTube. Hardy God's Country. I'm telling you, that version
I'm
is better
literally
than Blake
searching it.
Shelton. That version is
I'm
better
sure.
than Blake. Oh my, it'll send chills up your
Oh,
spine. If you
why have
listen,
I not heard this?
if you listen to it, you have
Oh
to
my
text me or whatever
God.
and let me know what you
Okay,
thought
well.
of it.
Oh, I found it. Okay. Ooh. Oh,
It
okay.
and
I'm literally
it's
gonna
just
listen to it.
it's him and a guitar, just him and a guitar in a
Yeah.
black room. Oh my
Oh.
goodness. Oh, and you
Oh, I
think,
love that vibe.
oh
Because
my
it's kind of
goodness.
it's like a pretty production heavy song.
Oh my.
That Blake, like the Blake's version.
All you can just say is, "Oh my goodness." It's that good, and I'm not even lying to anyone.
It,
I sent it to one of my friends that loves Blake Shelton as much as I do, and I'm like,
yeah,
you have to
yeah.
admit this version is better than Blake Shelton's. And they were like,
Y-
and their reply was, "Wow." That was their
Wow.
reply, and it was like, "Uh-oh, here we go." Blake's got some competition on his hands with Matthew Hardy there.
He just, yeah, Hardy's just brilliant. Also, like, just he's gonna. I feel like
That
he's
is,
blowing up in the Nashville scene, but it's interesting because a lot of people from like home, like in Minnesota, like don't know who he is. They'll like know Rednecker and they'll recognize that, but that's the extent. And then here in Nashville, we're all just like, ah, Hardy, oh my gosh.
but that's how Morgan Wallen did. Morgan Wallen wasn't, because I
Right,
remember when he put out that "If I Know Me" album, like 4 or 5 years ago, and now it just went #1 on the charts, and it's like,
right.
and now this dude is putting out a 30-track album, a double album. That's just how giant this guy is, and it's like,
He,
who are you
he's
gonna?
flexing.
I was like, who are you gonna pick now? Are you gonna pick Luke Combs or are you gonna pick Morgan Wallen? Which one are you gonna go for? And it's like, I
Yeah,
love me some Luke Combs. I'm good buds with his team, and it's like, but I may have to
that's
pick
awesome.
Morgan. I may have to pick Morgan Wallen for a hot minute, just because I think his "Cover Me Up." I think his version of "Cover Me Up" is better than Jason Isbell's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Morgan Wallen's great. I do love Luke Combs.
I do
I'm not
too.
gonna,
I do too. I do too.
I'm not gonna lie. I really respect him.
Yeah.
I think his songs are insane. His voice is insane. Man, there's something about, I just love a good rangy male voice. I don't know, like Lee Bryce too.
Yeah.
Super underrated. Like, but I just love a man who can like really just sing it. I don't know. That just, I'm obsessed with it. I have an issue. It's fine.
Have you ever had a bad experience with like meeting a celebrity?
That's a interesting question. No. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know that I would really call. I've met Carrie twice.
Mm-hmm.
The first time that I met her, I sang for her at her fan club party at the Grand Ole Opry, and that was like the craziest experience of my entire life. I literally blacked out. I'm not even kidding you. I really don't remember it
Yeah.
because I was so scared. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Carrie is like she's my girl. I love Carrie. So to meet her and sing for her was like, I
Have you
can't even say that it was a dream
have you felt that Carrie
because
Underwood stuff has just kind of not gone downhill, but it has went down since she started? Like, just because her last album, Cry Pretty, was not as good as the previous ones. I mean, that's just me, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I just don't know if she was
I
just so big for a long time, and so everything she put out was good
yeah.
based on that, and then people have just not taken over from her, but they have just gotten as big as she has.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think her Storyteller album was her best album. Um
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I like that album.
100%. I think she just like she puts out singles, right? Like I feel like she's not the artist where people are listening to her entire album and loving every song on the album, whereas I feel like artists today, like Kelsey Ballerini and like Morgan Wallen
Yeah.
and like I feel like those are people where people listen to the entire album and then they choose their favorite songs. And I just feel like people weren't doing that with Carrie's albums because I feel like a lot of people would not even know some of the songs that were on Some Hearts or Blown Away or whatever, which I do because I am in love with Carrie and I listen and scream her songs in my car literally all the time.
Mm.
However, I think she's I think she's trying to write more because I don't think she used to be a writer. Like the songs that were blowing up before He Cheats, Two Black Cadillacs, um, Last Name, Cowboy Casanova, like I mean these were songs that were written by some powerhouse songwriters in Nashville, and I think she's just trying to transition to be a writer because if you look at the Cry Pretty album, she's on pretty much every single song.
Mm.
There's maybe like one or two songs that she's not a writer on, so I don't know if that maybe has an influence. I do
Mm.
personally think that um even though Cry Pretty isn't my favorite album of hers, I think one of her songs, it's called Spinning Bottles. I think that is one of her best songs. Most well-written songs. Like I literally was obsessed with it
Yeah.
when her Cry Pretty album came out. And I just feel like that's a song that people don't even know that it's on her album because all they heard was Cry Pretty. I
Mm.
don't think that was the strongest song on that album by far,
No.
but it was
Yeah.
the theme. So she had to release it.
I met one of my favorites at a time was Chris Young, and I met that guy. That that dude was a
Me too.
douchebag. I had said, "Hey man, can I get a picture?" He said, "You can take a picture of me, not with me." And I was like, "What the fuck? What?" And I said, "Well, you know what? Screw it." And then now I've heard a lot of stuff about that dude. So it's like now I know why nobody cares that much. I'm not going to get into it because I think you know too. And I'm in the industry, not a singer, but I talk to a lot of people in the industry, and I know what type of guy that guy is.
See, I don't know much about him or anything. I love his music. I grew up absolutely obsessing over his
If
music
you
and his
want to
voice.
know when we get done here, I will tell you. If you're dying to know, because you will not like him. I'm telling you, you will not like him after. You will not.
I have met him a few times because he actually got up and sang at Doghouse on
I've heard
Demumbrian.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've.
It's like a bar. It's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah. All right.
Really, it is. And my one of my good friends from back home in Minnesota, he moved to Nashville to be like a rock singer. Okay.
Okay.
So he was like doing like a gig at Doghouse with his band or whatever. And Chris Young knew one of the band members
Mm.
and the band member like invited him up to sing or whatever. So then I was like, oh, I think that's Chris Young. That's so cool. Cause I was at Doghouse and I was like, why is Chris Young at Doghouse? This is great. This is so cool. I was new to Nashville. Like literally had lived there maybe a month. Um, and uh and I went up to him and I shook his hand and I said, "Hi, my name is Brooke. I'm a big fan. I saw you play in Minnesota, last year at our big festival or whatever." And I was like, "You were awesome. Like I appreciate you coming up to Minnesota, and he just like didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
So it was it was, I mean, I don't know. He wasn't like super rude or anything. And it was just like, I was excited to, I mean, people are excited to meet famous people that
Let me
they
tell you
admire.
something.
And
I get told all the time, don't
mm,
fanboy out. But let me tell you something. If I'm a fan of somebody, I'm gonna tell you I'm a fan. I'm not gonna hide it and just be
right.
like, take a sneak
Yeah.
picture as you're walking by the grocery aisle. I'm gonna go up to you and say, hey,
Yeah.
look, man,
No, absolutely
I
not.
enjoy your stuff. Like, doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Like David Spade. If he was to walk into my Walmart with COVID going around, I would remain my 6 feet. But I'm like, look, dude, we got to get a picture 6 feet apart. I am a big nerd, and I really do enjoy your I'm a big fan. You know,
Yeah.
because why would you just say you're a big fan of somebody and then you see them and then you not say anything at all? Like,
Right.
they got this thing in wrestling called being a mark, and that's kind of being a mark, as in you're marking out over something. You can't do it. You're fanboying out, and it's like,
Yeah.
fanboy out. Who cares? Be you. Let that person know, because you're the reason they're where they're at.
Yeah. Right. And like the thing is like I like as an artist trying to, I don't ever want to bug anybody, and I never do. Like Reba came into the restaurant that I work at, and I mean that was a big deal for me as a
But
female
that's different.
country
She's
artist.
eating. She's eating. That's different.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, and I didn't say anything. Lee Bryce actually came into my restaurant um last month, which was interesting because I had just played a festival
Mm,
in Lynchburg, and I had played right before him.
okay.
So it was interesting because I was like, hey, like, at the end of their meal, I was just like, hey, I played before you at Lynchburg or whatever. It's good to see you. You don't recognize people with their masks too. So, I mean, that's kind of weird now. But
But that
I
has to
mean,
be a
I don't know.
good
He was
getaway from
great.
those guys.
Yeah, probably. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I met Sam Hunt one time.
Yeah.
He was the nicest guy ever. He was so nice.
He's
I
he's
I was
pretty
like, your
chill.
songwriting is insane. I was like, your songwriting is so great, and I just wanted to let you know. And he was like so appreciative, and he was so cool. And I thought that he might not be, but he completely took me by surprise in the best way.
Do you know who should collaborate with Sam Hunt and write a song? This guy is just as good as a songwriter as Sam Hunt. That's Walker Hayes. Don't know if you know who that guy is.
I do. I
That
do.
guy
Walker
can
Hayes is amazing.
that dude can write a song and can make it. He can bend words, and to me, and this is going to be a
Yes.
long shot, but I think he kind of has the lyrical abilities as Eminem does. Like, Em,
Really?
Eminem rhymed orange, and then go look at Walker Hayes, what he's doing. No one is writing like Walker Hayes right now. No one.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
saying
feel
he
like no one
is.
even talks. I feel like no one really is talking about Walker Hayes right now. Like, I don't
Then
ever hear about him.
I do, because I follow him on all this stuff, but I think he had that one song, and it was kind of, I don't know. I'm not speaking on
He's
nobody's
probably
behalf.
another underrated,
Way underrated.
way underrated. Yeah.
Now, I don't know
And
if
he's
he's
just a good person.
and I don't know if he's the best singer, but he is underrated in
Sure.
songwriting, like 100%.
Yeah.
That guy,
Yeah.
he is. I'm. Have you ever met him?
Yeah.
That
He's like so nice.
I met him. Where was it? Jackson, Mississippi, maybe it was Mobile, Alabama. It was one of those, and I met
Oh,
him, and I'd come up to him, and um, I extended my hand out to him, and he shook it, and it wasn't one of them prissy shakes. It was, you can. They say you can judge somebody off their handshake. I don't really know how to do that, so
yeah.
but it was a firm handshake, and I remember I'd be like, "Look, dude, you're fantastic. Like, your songwriting." And I was honest with him, like, you're not the best singer, but your songwriting makes you a good singer. And he was like, "Well, man, I appreciate that." And then I remember the room it was a dark room, like it was a low lit room. And I was like, "Man, the photo didn't come out good." And he was like, "Well, we're gonna take like 12 or 15 photos until the right picture comes out." It was just like, that was a cool guy. It was like,
Oh,
"Hey, man, look, a lot of people don't do that nowadays, you know. And it's,
You're never going to forget that either.
yeah,
And see, that's the thing for me is like people don't forget, like if they're excited to meet you, like
yeah,
just at least
right.
show some interest and thanks in, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I try to be very intentional about that. And I'm like, I'm I'm not signed. I'm not, I'm not really any, but like if people want to talk to me after shows or whatever, like that's honestly like one of my favorite things in the world. Like I can't really imagine not being excited about that. Like these are people who paid money to see you play. That's crazy to me. These people made your career.
Do
You have a
you?
career because these people follow you and want the best for you.
What's the biggest crowd you've ever played for? Do you know off the top of your head?
Mm, honestly, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. Um, Probably like this is hard because I sang the national anthem at the Target Center in Minnesota for like a basketball game. So that's a lot of people. I don't really know how many people fit in that arena.
Okay, let's give it. Let's just say 30,000. That's a good number to
Okay,
go
so
with.
probably so the national, yeah. So I sang the national anthem, so it wasn't like I was singing my
But
stuff,
that
and it was like
counts.
a cappella,
But that still
obviously.
counts because people know your name now. That still counts.
Yeah, and I was in high school when I did that, so I was like younger, but it was scary. Man, singing the national anthem is so scary.
You don't want
Oh,
to mess it up.
I I get so nervous
Yeah.
every time. I'm like, I could recite this in my sleep, but for some reason when I have to go sing it, I'm like, I'm just gonna mess everything up. It's
It's
crazy.
like, oh, say, can you see? No, wait, is it, oh, say, can you be? Or, oh, say, can you see?
Right.
You're just like, oh, no.
What am I doing?
What is it? What is it?
I forgot everything. What is my starting note?
The reason I asked that is because do you remember I went through your Facebook, your fan page Facebook, and I went to your very first post you ever posted. Do you know what that is off the top of your head?
No.
It
Oh
was
man.
it was your first time playing for a crowd of 1,000 people. That was in 2013, and it's
Okay.
so
Funny.
you've come from 1,000 people to give or take 30,000. That has to that has to put anxiety and stress in your life. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. It's it has just the opportunities have been incredible, but like that's my like I love songwriting,
Mm,
but like more than anything I love being an artist and I love performing. Like that is the best thing to me. And like getting to play a festival this fall after not playing for 5 months, 6 months, like at all anywhere. I cannot even explain to you how amazing it felt. Like I was on a high still like 2 weeks later from it.
mm.
Just rewatching videos of like playing on like on the main stage at a festival. Like that's what I want to do every single day. Is the best thing ever. Like
And
it's the best.
I I had this one guy come on, not gonna say any names, but um he had mentioned to me that he looks at a concert either for one person or for 1 million people and is like, I look at it the same. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't look at it the same because the 1 million means 10 times more than that one person. And he was like, and I don't get nervous anymore. And I'm like, well, if you're not getting nervous, you're in the wrong game because you're supposed to be nervous because, it's like if you don't get nervous, then it's not
Yeah.
meaningful anymore. It's like,
Right. And
it's,
it's exciting. It's exciting.
yeah.
And that is a part of my nerves, I think, too, is just the excitement behind it all. It's just like amps you up,
What was that
gives you energy to be up
what
there.
was that first show where you were just like so like have you ever been so nervous you just like puke your guts up from being so scared?
I literally, I get so nervous. So I feel like people don't see that. When I'm on stage, I feel like I am very poised and I look confident, but they have no idea that literally right before I came on stage, I was like shaking
Yeah.
and like praying. Like doing a quick prayer. Like I like to do a quick like prayer before I sing because it just gives me a sense of peace when I'm just all
Yeah.
worked up because I work myself up. I just do. Um and and oh my gosh, like literally every time that I sing, I get nervous. Even if it's honest to God, even like singing worship at my church, like leading worship, I get so nervous. I don't know why. It just doesn't make sense to me because I can rehearse and be prepared and I will still just be like shaking and I don't know. It's like you can prepare so much and still it's exciting, but also it's nerve-wracking. It's like you want to do your best for these people
Mm.
who are here for you, whether that's like you said, two people or honestly, sometimes I get more nervous for smaller crowds, honestly,
Yeah.
than the bigger ones.
Before we kind of wind down here, got two big questions for you. One is, when you do interviews, what is the one thing that you know you're going to be asked about?
That's a good question. I feel like I always get asked about my goals, kind of like my end game. Like what do you want this life to look like for yourself? You know, as far as like in the music industry. You know, like what is your goal? Cuz some people are here to write songs. Some people are here to be artists, some people are here to be both. But I feel like um you really have to have a good sense of that when you're in this town, especially if you start to have meetings. Like people want to know, like, what is your goal? What's your end goal? So I feel like I get asked that all the time.
Yeah, if I could, people would not interview me if that was the question that I would get, because I'm just so sarcastic. That's my sense of humor. I'm really just so
Yeah.
sarcastic at the point where people don't know if I'm serious or just joking. And somebody would ask me a question, "What's your end game?" Well, I plan to come up here and fail, then to go back home and be homeless, live under a bridge. What do you
Right.
think my end game is?
Right.
To be successful.
Right.
So, but I'm not judging. It's not my questions. I didn't write them. I don't write my questions.
Yo, yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just think of them. They just
I
come to
just
me.
think they do. I think that's the best way to do it, because
Yeah.
because if I had questions down, I'd be focusing on the questions more than what the person's
Sure.
saying. It's just,
Yeah.
I do have I've got notes, but it's not questions. But
Yeah.
that's because I always write notes. I used to not write notes. I used to have the person's name, and that
Yeah.
person would be terrible at talking, but wanted to do the podcast anyways. And so I was like, you know what?
Hmm.
I'm going to have notes just in case this person sucks,
Yeah.
because I'll have a
Oh.
place to go. You know what I mean?
Right. I've got my stash. We can keep the
Yeah.
conversation going. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
don't
good
always use
though.
them, but you
Come
learn.
prepared.
What is one question or one topic when you go into there, you're like, I wish this person would ask me about it, because I never get to talk about it.
Hmm. I think probably for me, I I feel like I don't get asked about like the creation process, I guess, of like just creating the song, whether it's writing it, being there for production. It is such a process.
Mm.
And I feel like people don't really ask about that. They're like, oh, well, what's the meaning behind the song? But I think it's more interesting to talk about how did this even come into the room? Because sometimes we will literally start talking about something completely different. Like we're on this completely different path. And then all of a sudden we say this one thing changes the entire song. And then we end up with this incredible song that we didn't intend to end up with that day. And so and then some songs you write in 45 minutes and some songs are like five writes that you're just trying to fix things and get it right. And you know just or what it's like being in the studio recording vocals, because here's the thing, You can't just go record vocals. You can't just do that. You don't just do that. You have to be in the right mindset. And like, there have been days when I've gone in and I'm not in the right mindset. I've had to go back and record, like re-record final vocals, because in order to communicate the correct emotion, you have to be in the right mindset and you have to be ready for that. And like, it's not just singing. You're not just singing.
Yeah.
You are performing by yourself in a cute little booth that might have some twinkly lights, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's you and your producer, and you're going back and forth, and you're like, you need to just like be in that zone. And it is such a mind game, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It is such a mind game going in and recording. And I think people don't realize, like, people are like, oh, well, this person can sing, so they'd probably just go in and just record the song in one take, and it probably takes them maybe an hour and then they leave. And it's like, no, we're in there for hours.
What amazes me, and I guess my family is kind of like that. They listen to the song and they're like, that's a good song. But it's just like, that's not enough for me. It's a good song, but I want to know how this song happened. Like, where were they at? How did they get it's just every song I hear, I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder what they were going through when they wrote this.
Yeah. Where was their mind at?
Yeah.
What was going on?
What is one of the most craziest, not in music, if it's music, then that's fine. But what is one of the most craziest things that you've learned that you had no clue recently?
Oh, sorry, someone's calling me.
You need to take it? We can pause it real quick.
Probably how much um how much work that you have to do for yourself
Okay.
until you find people who want to help you and believe in you and know that it's gonna like pay off in the end. I think I didn't know a lot about music business when I came down here, but I have been learning the last 2 years how much work, how many emails you have to
Yeah.
send people, and how much you have to reach out and how much you have to be on your game as an artist to promote yourself. And promoting yourself is such a weird thing. It's weird. It's
And it
weird
is
for
so
me
hard.
because
It
you have
is
to
so
talk
hard.
yourself up to people. And learning how to do that in the best way has been interesting, and just learning how much time I need to set aside. Like, I wasn't really prepared for that. And so I had to cancel a lot of things. I had to wipe my schedule to make time to send the emails and craft the press release that I don't know how to write. Give me a scientific article. I can write that all day. Press releases, like I don't know what should be included in a press release. So just all of the things that go into an artist's career is so much more than I had even ever thought. Like, the things that you do for yourself as an independent artist when you don't have a team behind you, you are doing what probably 10 people would be doing. And it's a lot. And so I think just learning how to do all those things, and then just learning that those things just even exist in helping promote your music, like it's a process. It's a journey.
Are you a fan of documentaries at all?
What was that?
Are you a fan of documentaries at all?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Here's what I learned. I learned it just last night. I was watching this documentary about the legendary country artist, songwriter Dean Dillon, and he wrote "The Chair" for George Strait. He wrote it with Hank Cochran, and he was talking about how he was writing the song, and he said, "Well, excuse me, I think you have my chair," and how that turned into something bigger. And then you know the line where it goes, "Oh, I like you too, but to tell you the truth, I was in my chair." That was not the original way they wrote it. The original way they wrote it was, "Oh, I like you too, but it didn't sound right." And Dean Dillon was like, "This doesn't sound. We can't get this right." And he goes, "Well, why don't you just go?" And he goes, "I can't do that." And Hank Cochran was like, "Well, why not?" And he said, because do you know what those chords are? And the chords to that song are, I'm crazy for crying, crazy for lying. And I'm like, what? What? I was like, I didn't realize that was the melody for Crazy.
Yeah.
And then went into this whole spiral of how Hank Cochran was like, Willie ain't gonna mind because in 1965, instead of getting my bonus, I made the studio sign Willie Nelson. So he's gonna give it to me for free. And Willie didn't care. And they wrote The Chair. And I was like, dang.
Wow. Isn't that fascinating? I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that.
I didn't either. I'm a nerd for that type of stuff. Like that's the stuff right there that I live for. Like, and I was going through Amazon and I was like, there's a Slash documentary I'm gonna watch. There's a Tommy Lee I'm gonna watch. It's just going to, I was like, I'm gonna watch. Well, I don't really have time because I do these stupid movie reviews on the podcast that sometimes I regret doing sometimes. Well, how are they funny? They're like 3 or 4 minutes because I'm like, I can't take it.
No, I know.
anymore.
They're short.
You're short.
Well,
No, on purpose.
I can't take it anymore.
On purpose, because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a 45-minute movie review and then like a 45-minute podcast. That's boring.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
and
It's a good call.
and it's just like these movie reviews keep me. I have to keep watching movies, and I'm just like, leave me alone for the day because I'm gonna watch 4 or 5 movies today, and that's a month that I don't have to watch anything unless I want to. You know, it's So some of them are.
Fun.
Ah,
Movies are
man.
fun.
It depends what you're watching.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Have
You
you seen the Garth Brooks documentary?
Yes, The Road I'm On.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That was
I loved that.
You know, what was cool about that was I had Kent Blasey on the podcast, and that's the guy that has written a lot of Garth Brooks songs. Like I don't know, just a good bit of them. Can't think of them off the top of my head, and he was talking about how when they came to him for the documentary. I don't even know if I recorded or he was just telling me about it. They came to the documentary and he said he couldn't do the documentary because he would cry. Because he knew how bad Garth Brooks meant to him. He was like, oh man. That Garth Brooks documentary was fantastic. But I knew all of that just because I'm just such a big 90s fan and Garth Brooks fan that I knew that. So.
Oh, I just respect him so much, and he is an entertainer to the end of time. And so I'm just obsessed with him too.
You know, I was talking to his nameless daughter. You probably know who I'm talking about. This singer. But she was on the show too, and she was talking about it because I like to keep that process out of her life because they're going to be asked about that all the time. So like I didn't even bring it up, but she had brought it up, and I was like, I couldn't even talk to your dad. Because if I were to talk to your dad, it would just constantly be, well, you remember when you went over here and you did this? Well, what about this time when you did this? How did this song come about? How did this happen? And she was like, well, he's going to be the one to tell you because he remembers every single thing. And I'm like, well, I may just have to talk to Garth Brooks about it.
That's so cool. And that's when you know when the songs mean something. Extra special is when you don't forget the room that you were in. You don't forget the conversations that were had and the feelings that you had after you finished writing the song. And you're like, wow, this is a dang good song.
Give me an unpopular opinion about a song or about an artist.
Ooh, unpopular opinion.
I'll go first because I'm putting this off because we were mentioning Garth Brooks. I do not like the song Friends in Low Places.
Interesting.
Because I think it's oh man, I think it's played too much and it's overrated. Like that is not the best jam Garth Brooks has released. I mean, to me, and I say this and I'm like, if I were to go see Garth Brooks in concert and he did not sing Friends in Low Places, I would not care. I would be just as happy when everybody's like, you didn't sing Friends in Low Places, you jerk. I'd be like, hey, fine with me. I didn't care. I don't really care for it anyways. But
yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I think people love it because it's
Ugh.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, black coffee.
No,
Ugh.
no, the coffee's cold. It got
Oh, cold
cold.
coffee. Ugh.
It got bad.
Yeah. Um, I think uh I don't really know if it's like an unpopular opinion or if it's just not really an opinion at all. I don't think a
Okay.
lot of people know about Brandy Carlisle, and she is someone I have discovered because of one of my best friends. She brought me to Brandy's show when she had like 6 shows at the Ryman,
Okay.
and I went to see Natalie Hemby play because Natalie was opening for Brandy.
Okay.
And I love Natalie. Absolutely adore her. And she is just so talented. And it was an honor to just see her play, especially at the Ryman. And Brandy played. I did not know a single song of Brandy's. I just went to go.
Mhm.
And I stood up the entire time. Everyone stood up the entire time, actually. My jaw like hit the floor the entire time. I like cried at one point. I don't cry during concerts. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to me. It was like an experience, but she when people ask me like who lit the fire under, under you to like just really get going and work hard and make it happen, it's Brandy, which is crazy because I love Carrie Underwood and Carrie Underwood's like she's my girl. But Brandy Carlisle, just overall songwriter, vocalist, entertainer, the way that she made her fans feel in the room that night, I will never forget that. I want that to be the energy and the love in the room when I perform. Like that's what I want to put forth too. And it was unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life. And I think unpopular opinion, Brandy Carlisle is one of the best things in the world. Like she just is incredibly talented. And I think she's completely underrated. She's an incredible songwriter.
What's an artist that you like that everybody else feels that they hate?
Mm.
Because for me it would be
FGL.
Florida Georgia Line. I enjoy Florida Georgia Line. I really do. They just announced a new album. I'm looking forward to it. I don't.
I like them.
I do too.
I like their songwriting. I think things are catchy. I think they're fun. Sure. Are their melodies a little bit poppier? Sure. But some of my songs are country, but they have a little bit of a poppier melody. Poppier melodies are kind of fun.
There
I
you
don't
have
know.
it. Mine's Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
I love Bruce Springsteen so much.
Yeah.
His new album is fantastic as well. It's just because he's not one of the because not a lot of people like that raspiness that Bruce
Sure.
Springsteen brings. I just think he's so smart that he uses words people can understand. Like I was reading his book, and the first 100 pages, I'm like, huh? Because he's
Yeah.
using thy went over there to the. I'm like, what are you talking
What
about?
are you saying?
I was like,
Yeah.
what is one of your favorite songs of all time? Like, if you don't have to be, but one of them, if somebody were to be like, you're dying, you just got hit by a bus, you got hit by a train, you're dying on the road, one song you're going to sing.
Oh my gosh. Um, wow. Um, so okay, I would love to say Welcome to the Jungle because I freaking love rock music. I love like Welcome to the Jungle just like hypes me up. That is like my hype song. I think it's a funny song and I love singing it and it's just so fun.
Do you know
I
where
don't
you
know that
are?
I would sing it if I just got Do you know where you are?
In the
It's
jungle,
like
baby.
Hey, you're gonna die. It's so much fun. Me and my band and I we did a Guns N' Roses mashup at the end of our set when we played at the festival in October, and um it was insane. I mean people obviously got to their feet, like they were just loved it. Um So I would like Welcome to the Jungle is one of my that was actually I think my top played song. You know the Spotify things that people have been posting on Instagram lately of like this was my top artist and my top song for 2020 and my top song was Welcome to the Jungle. Okay, but in maybe more of like a songwriter perspective, um mm, this is so hard. I would probably mm, I just like don't even know how to like choose. I really really like it's a Brandy Carlisle song. I don't know that a lot of people would know it. It's called That Wasn't Me. And it's
That wasn't me who got hit by a bus just 2 seconds
That
ago.
wasn't me that just got ran over. It's a very sweet song. The vocals are incredible on it and it's a very genuine and um like honest song and I don't know,
Mhm.
I love that about Brandy's writing. So, I think that would probably be if I got hit by a bus. If we were like partying though, it would be like Welcome to the Jungle. So like, you know, we've got like two different scenarios here.
I'm a big classic rock. I don't really care for the newer rock now. But
Mhm.
my song would be, and people are like, "Are you serious?" Mine would be Louis Armstrong, "What a Wonderful World."
Oh,
I
I
love
wouldn't
that
have
song.
guessed that.
I love that song so much. Because people are obviously gonna be like, "Well, Aerosmith's your favorite band, so you're gonna go Aerosmith or John Mayer."
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you name Aero song to get hit by a bus to? I guess Dream On, because I guess you're gonna be dreaming the rest
Yeah.
of the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
I guess Dream On.
So
Somebody,
so I guess I answered my own question.
I mean, it's like, it's looking up. That dude looks like a lady. They sit there looking at me. It's like, come on now. But look, before we jump off here, I want to do this thing real quick. It's called
Okay.
quick answer or quick question, quick answer, kind of like quick fire. So, ouch.
Oh.
It's kind of the same questions. I need to redo the questions just because I've asked the same questions to everybody, but who cares? My show.
Who
Do what
cares?
I
It's
want.
fun.
Um, what is one thing, like one food that you have to have around the house that you can't have one, you have to indulge?
Probably like any sweets, honestly. Any sweets. Cookies or ice cream. I just can't have a little bit. I have no self-control.
You have a sweet
It's
tooth, I'm
bad.
assuming?
Yep. My whole family does. It's like it's a curse. It's
Do you ever
fine.
eat something so sweet that it like makes your jaws hurt?
I don't know that I have. I also have TMJ though, so I have chronic jaw pain all the time. So I don't know that I would really feel anything
Okay.
different. So, yep. You were like, wasn't expecting you to go there,
No,
but
no, no, I
okay.
wasn't. All right. I'm
Here
gonna
we
leave
are.
it alone. I can make a joke, but I'm not going to. Favorite movie line of all time?
I'm ready to party from Bridesmaids when she's like,
Oh, I've never seen that.
what's the Chris? Oh my gosh, she's like drunk on a plane and she's just like, they
Bye.
won't let her into first class with her friends.
Yeah.
And she's just drunk and being obnoxious. And I think it's hilarious.
Mine would be from Meet the Parents. For some reason that's my favorite movie of all time is
Huh.
Meet the Parents. I don't know why, but and it would
No
be
explanation.
and it would be I used to milk the cat. You can milk a cat, Greg? Yeah, you can milk anything with nipples. That to me is the funniest line I've heard in a
That is funny.
I mean, it could be Step Brothers, like he better not talk to me.
Right.
I'll drop that motherfucker. But it's not. It's like, come on now.
Right.
You had to have
Right.
some.
Everybody says Step Brothers though.
That is my top three favorite movies. I love Step Brothers. It never gets old. I
Yes.
laugh the same parts, the same amount.
They just did it so well. Oh man.
It's Christmas season. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Elf.
Okay,
Do you not like Elf?
man, I like it. I think it's overrated. I like it. I like it, but it's not my
It
favorite.
It doesn't just bring you so much happiness.
Man, I guess if I see Santa in a mall, then probably.
Oh my God.
I know him. The funniest line in that
Santa, it's me, buddy.
the funniest line in that Elf movie that is overlooked is, "You stink. You don't smell like Santa. You smell like tuna fish and rotten meat." That is to me, that is the funniest line in that movie. Doesn't matter what happens, that is the funniest line because you're just like, "You
It
motherfucker,
is
you
so
stink. This is not Santa Claus."
the things that he just says under his breath. And I feel like every time I watch it too, I find something new in the movie that I'm just like, why did I not notice that before? That's hilarious.
You know what I watched yesterday? It's a new thing on Netflix, and it's called The Holiday Movies That Made Us. And Elf is on there. It's about how they made the movie.
Oh,
And
cool. Is it cool?
it's fantastic. It's fascinating because he's the tallest of all the elves because he's human and not elf. And it's weird that they
Right.
used people were taller than Will Ferrell, but they shot the movie from a different angle that made him look taller. Like they didn't use any kind of CGI. They turned this camera to a certain angle and everybody was small except for Will Ferrell. It was one of the
You would
most,
never know that.
you would never know that. And I'm like,
Wow.
but you know, Will Ferrell was offered over $100 million to do Elf 2 and he declined it.
Why did he decline it?
I don't know, but I'm kind of glad he did.
I'm upset. I'm upset. I didn't even know that there was like an option for an elf too, and I'm now upset and
A hundred,
disappointed.
$100 million
Frankly,
dollars. You know what I do for $100 million?
you know what you could do with that? I don't even know. I don't even know what you could do with that. Honestly,
People say money doesn't bring happiness, but they're giving it to the wrong person. Joking. I'm joking.
I know.
No, but the best Christmas movie is the Santa Claus. No doubt about it. The Santa Claus has to be.
Santa Claus is good. It's good. Rudolph is also good. I love Rudolph.
You talking about the original from like the '60s, the stop motion movie? Yeah.
The
Okay.
the VHS.
Yeah. The clay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the VHS at my parents' house in Minnesota. We have a VHS player and we still have that movie on VHS.
I have a bunch of those in the hall closet. It's just like I wish I could find a VCR just to see
Yeah.
but you
I'm
can't
sure you
find them no
could.
more. Yeah, from eBay for like
Really?
$1,000.
Oh, jeez.
I
Okay,
could
well,
just.
we better not sell ours. Jeez.
That's what I'm saying. You make a killing on them things. You make a week's paycheck. Well, for some people, not for me.
Right. Yeah.
Not for me. Whatever. Well, look, I wanted you to talk about and go as deep in depth as you want to talk about the making of Depends on the Friend.
Yeah, so Depends on the Friend was written not that long ago. Literally, I don't even remember. November something, I think. And it was
Of this
just me
year?
and two of my good girlfriends. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It was I can actually look it up. We literally went out for margaritas and we were just like chatting and just having a good time. We went back and we were listening to, so I've been in the studio all year recording and I'm putting out an EP next year. And we were listening to my EP because we were trying to figure out, what do I not have on my EP? What am I missing?
Mhm.
And so we kind of came to the conclusion that I was missing just a happy drinking song, a drinking song that's just lighthearted, fun. It's not me trying to get at anybody. It's just, it is what it is. It's not encouraging drinking, but it's not being ashamed of it either. And
Mhm.
it's just like a situation that it talks about, a situation, where a guy's like texting you at like 1 a.m. like, hey, you up? And you're just like trying to contemplate like, what do I do?
Mhm.
Right. Because I just feel like a lot of people get in those situations. I mean, guys probably too, for sure. Right. But, and we were kind of, we wrote the chorus first. It was really weird. We wrote this song in 45 minutes. It was one of the quickest writes I've been a part of because Autumn and Reagan, my co-writers, are insane. They're just insane. And I just feel like we mesh so well together. And we I just remember Autumn was sitting on the floor and she was like, vodka. She loves vodka. Okay. Just
Okay.
like disclaimer, she loves vodka. She's the vodka girl. And she goes, vodka saying leave him. And Reagan and I were like, okay. And I looked at Reagan, and Reagan is like this porcelain, like beautiful, like goddess of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, she's just she's like that just really soulful, uh, romantic friend, hopeless romantic kind of friend. And I was like, whiskey. She reminds me of whiskey. And I was like, whiskey saying stay. And it just went like boom, boom, boom. And we were like, Jen is saying, why not throw the whole boy away? We were thinking about our friend Kennedy and how she would just be like, like, there's no options. You just get rid of him
Mm-hmm.
and you just like for good. And so we kind of just went back and forth on that. And it just went so, it was like so easy. And obviously tequila's passed out on the lawn. That was just a no brainer. Right. Um,
I
but it was
guess
just
I've
so
never
fun
I've
that
never
night. And
drank before, so whatever. I guess so.
yeah, well, that's our experience
Okay.
with tequila is that you are face down, you're face planted in the lawn outside. But that's how it went. We were literally sitting on the floor like 45 minutes later. We had this song, and we tried to put some funny, lighthearted, verses surrounding the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Just different situations that you're in, and you're like, haha, these alcohol bottles are my friend. Because honestly, when people drink different liquors, I don't know if you've ever heard people say this, but they're like, oh man, when I drink vodka, I turn into this person. And when I drink tequila, I
It makes
just
me
turn into
mean.
this.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever it is. And so that's kind of what we were like thinking about when we were writing it. And then Reagan came in with and then I get that text I always get, the one you want to leave on red, like that melody. And we were like, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we were like, yeah, it's like a little bit poppy, but it's so fun and it's quick. It's such a quick song. Like I literally can't breathe ever in the song.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not strategic about my breathing, I might pass out when I sing it. Honestly, it's crazy. But we just turned it around so fast. And when we got done, we were like, man, we got to take a video of this. And I don't know if you saw like the original TikTok that we did, but we set alcohol bottles in a school, like a rectangle around me.
I saw
And
one
so
where you
like,
were in like a car trunk. Is that it? Or you were? Is it? You know what I'm talking
no,
about?
that
Okay.
was just like a video. Yeah. We've done a lot of weird video. We have taken alcohol bottles in places that I should not have brought them, but it's fine. Anything for the TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and anyway, Autumn she saves like all of her liquor bottles. We were writing at Autumn's house. And so she had all of these empty liquor bottles. So we just like lined them up and it looks ridiculous. It looks crazy, but it looks so crazy that it's really funny. And she had like dead flowers in empty Svedka bottles. Like it was the whole scene was just ridiculous and people loved it. Like people were like, this is hilarious. And people started, when we got done, we were like, I was like, oh, I'm gin, and Autumn, you're the tequila, and Reagan, you're the whiskey. And we were like, man, girls are gonna do this. Like people are gonna wanna like identify themselves as like, this is me, this is me, this is me. And that's so cool. Like when you're writing a commercial song, that's what you want. You want people to connect to it and you want people to identify with the song. And I can't even tell you how many people I had like reach out to me being like, I just got dumped. This song, like I needed this song tonight. So it just that in itself too is just the coolest thing because it's not like I wrote it, we didn't write it in, with helping people get over breakups in mind. We wrote it just to be fun and lighthearted. And it's just interesting how people can identify with it and heal from their
Yeah.
own things that they're going through just with a lighthearted female drinking song,
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, it really blew up on TikTok and I'm so thankful for it. And we got in the studio. I called my producer and I was like, Grady, can you fit me in like soon? And he did. He squeezed us in. We turned the song around in 48 hours. It was crazy. Like I was up, I like didn't sleep. I was up all night. he was sending me mix after mix, and we were just, fixing like little, like tweaking things like here and there. And I mean, it was crazy. We recorded final vocals and final background vocals to a scratch guitar track because that was the time that he could fit us in to do. We did pre-production, vocals, background vocals in one night. We were there from like 6 to like 1:30 in the morning. And then the next day the session players came in to do the track, and I wasn't even there because I had to work.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy how quick everything was turned around, and people worked so fast. And I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that, and just how much I appreciate how much people believed in the song to want to turn it around that fast. Like, even the people who were, the guys who mix and mastered the song, I mean, they were on standby,
Yeah.
to receive this, to like kick it out quick, because we didn't even have a release date in mind, because we were like, we just need to get this out as soon as possible, because these, like, people wanted it, and we
Yeah.
needed to get it to them. So it's been a crazy last few weeks, honestly, where the song's doing really well organically by itself, which is absolutely insane. And I'm like just so thankful. I mean, we're crossing our fingers and hoping and praying that we can get it on some editorials here soon. But yeah, we're kind of waiting now to see what it does.
Well, look, what I want to do is, if you're down in a couple of weeks, because we know we know a lot about music. We do every year I do top 5 albums of the year. If you want to, you can join me in, because we click. Obviously, we've been going over 2.5 hours almost.
Yeah, right.
You can come back on, and I'll have a guest for the top 5 albums of the year.
Cool.
We can make that happen in a couple. We'll record in a couple of weeks, whatever, and do it air it in January. But
cool.
I hope I made this interview what you wanted, because you're like, my friends are on it. I'm like, well, now this puts a lot of pressure. So I'm hoping it was great. It's not professional,
no.
not professional
It was great.
at all. I know.
Honestly, this was fun. It just like felt like a nice conversation.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's kind of the point, because I kind of get tired of talking.
Point.
You know how it is. You tell the same stories, the same.
Right.
You could write a book just about how much you talked about the same stuff, and that's kind of my goal, is just get on here and talk. Sure, we're going to bring in your music and your life a little bit, but how much you going to know somebody without getting to know them personally?
Right.
Chatting.
Right.
But I mean, I really do appreciate you coming on. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This was so fun. Thank you so much for having me on. I loved this. This was great.